Welcome to AHRK Encounter. I'm your host, Melanie, and I'm so excited to go on this AHRK Path journey with you. We will continue our discussion on stewardship of time, wealth, and energy. I'm curious to see how these resources will help us challenge the walls of assumption. Our guide today, Casey Cox, will take us through the AHRK Path lens of communication, where we will encounter a key VIP. Now let's get you started on the AHRK Path journey with this video about our AHRK lenses.
AHRK is the lifestyle path to better choices. It empowers us to live life to the fullest and paves the way for people like you and me to discover our unique purpose and passion. Choosing to walk the AHRK path invites transformation and growth in 5 key areas of life: leadership, communication, mindset, community, and lifestyle. As we dive into these lenses, they redirect our focus and guide us into a deeper understanding of where we're at today and where we're going tomorrow. This is AHRK Encounter.
Communication is one of my favorite topics. Have you noticed that every single one of the lenses is one of my favorites? But when it comes to communication, I want to expand your understanding, maybe just slightly, that communication is not just speaking and listening. It's everything. It encompasses everything. Everything speaks. And as we look at communication today, we're going to help you understand the fact that everything has value. And as we steward, we're going to bring together time, energy, and wealth. And we're going to look at stewardship through a lens of communication. I have had these experiences where, oh my gosh, it just felt like I had my foot caught in my mouth. And I was like, ooh, did I just say that? And I wish I could take a word back. And then I recognized I can't. And sometimes when we steward things incorrectly, we look back and we go, oh, if I only would have known, I could have done it differently. So today, as we look at communication and we look at stewardship, we're going to bring it together. And I have a very special guest for you. I am so excited to introduce you to Sugey. Sugey Piedra is a friend of mine. She also takes care of accounting and actually knows a whole lot about things that are going on in my life because I trust her quite a bit. Sugey, welcome.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you for having me here.
Well, Sugey, I happen to think you are a VIP. You're a very important person because I trust you quite a bit. But there's also another way I look at VIP. It's that you have values, you have identity, and you have purpose. What that makes you, and maybe no one's ever told you this before, but it makes you unarguable. Has anybody ever argued with you?
No, not really.
No,
Right.
I'd see. Look, I could have gotten any answer. You're unarguable because you have a conviction about your values. You are unshakable because your identity is trusted and true. And you are undeniable because you show up and demonstrate your purpose everywhere you go. So let's walk through that together and you get to know us as we're getting to know you. So tell me about your values. What are some things that you find they always are just kind of true? They're things that motivate you. You have a conviction about them. They're not hard. You just know that they matter.
Well, we'll start off with definitely, my family. My family consists of not just my kids, but also mom and dad. My sisters. We're a very close-knit family, and hard work. My dad has taught us, if you want something, you go after it, and you do what you can to be successful in that. So my dad definitely has taught us hard work pays off. So that would be, that's a value to me as well, right? How I come across with my clients, my business, that's a big one for me. So
family, hard work, success, consistency. These are some values that you value as you bring those things together. And then as you continue to show up, your identity is expressed to people around you. What are some roles that you fulfill, or where do you find your identity has kind of formed that you're like, yeah, that's who I am?
So being the oldest of my sisters.
And how many sisters are there?
We're 5 girls.
Five
so
girls.
4 sisters, 4 younger sisters that I have. So one of the big roles is obviously being the oldest sister. Being a mom to my son and my daughter. I have a bigger connection with my daughter just because girls hang out, and do things like that. But showing my son, that you don't have to go to work or have a job. You can actually be self-employed and go after your own dreams. That's something that was never really taught in our household, because I am one of the first to be self-employed and have my own business.
So tell me a little bit more about that. I loved how you just captured that under identity, that you don't have to be employed.
Right.
You can become self-employed, and there's a difference for you. Help me understand your lens on that and how that plays into identity here.
So there's nothing wrong with having a job if you're happy at what you're doing. That to me is important. Being happy. I've worked for many people for many years, and I was happy doing what I was doing, but I wasn't fulfilled. There was something else. Having control of how I do my business is what made the difference, and now I feel so much different about it. And watching my parents go to work every day, and 8 to 5, 9 to 5, 6 to 5, whatever it was, and them coming home and being the parents that they were, I feel was their point of satisfaction. I didn't feel that, so I knew there was something else. Once I became self-employed, I started to see the change in my kids now. My kids are like going to work, but then my son says, I want to own the body shop I work at now. I want to be the guy in charge one day, so he changes the way he talks about his job now. And
I'm going to pause you on that. He changes the way he talks.
Yes.
This is the concept we're really looking at today. We're looking at communication and stewardship, and the fact that they actually come together, and the way that her son now talks changes his choices. It changes where he invests his time, his energy, his wealth. And what Sugey has just highlighted for us, and on an AHRK encounter, you just stepped into your identity as a business owner, not just an employer or an employee, but somebody who is choosing to step up and say, this is me.
Correct.
This is what I choose. And the last of the VIP is purpose. And so Sugey, you have a business, but it's not just about making money.
No.
You have a bigger calling and a desire to impact the world. How does that purpose come out?
Helping people not fear, or having those hard discussions about finance. Because I do taxes, I prepare taxes, but people are used to getting their tax return and saying, I'm done for the year, see you next year kind of a deal. I say, wait a minute, let's look at these numbers, let's analyze them, let's see what they're saying about you and your finances. If I see a strong tax return, meaning there's good finances, husband and wife maybe have a good job, there's good income coming in, is what do we have to show for it? Where is it going? And so once we start talking about things like that, they're like shocked at how much money they really made. Even though they do their taxes year in, year after year, they never really looked at how much money really came into the household.
So part of your purpose is to awaken or reveal for people what is possible for them, which is why I've invited you here today, because as it comes to stewardship, you teach people stewardship. You communicate in such a way that they have their eyes open to an encounter to go, oh my gosh, there's more that's possible.
Correct.
So let's get into the AHRK encounter here today. And we recognize that in AHRK, there are 4 steps along the way that we're just going to repeat. And it's not about getting to the end. It's actually repeating the process over and over again as an experience of life. And so we acknowledge, we heal, we restore, we celebrate in this kingdom place, and then we go back through the process. That's why we call it an AHRK path. And right here is an AHRK encounter with Sugey. So let's start with the acknowledgement. What we are acknowledging is what is real. Like, is something seen or unseen? And as it comes to tax, sometimes people just don't know what to look for. They don't realize that there are, and I'm telling you these things because Sugey has taught me this, there are ways of maximizing your money. And if you don't acknowledge what's available, you miss out.
Right.
So Sugey, school me a little bit on how did you even learn this?
So I'm very observant, and I like helping people. It's something that I grew up with, helping my parents and everybody. But in 2008, something happened where the market crashed, right? Everybody was going crazy about what happened. When people came in to do their taxes the following year, I had a couple that cried. They were ashamed of the fact that they were losing their home, cars being repoed, losing the toys, the boat, and all the 9 yards, right? This is a couple making a lot of money in a W-2 year. And empathy, sorry, we'll get through this, blah, 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 send them on their way. And then here comes another gentleman, makes under $100,000 a year. And I look at his portfolio and he had bought 4 properties, and I'm like, wait a minute, the couple that just left made 5 times what you make, and yet they're upset and you're over here super happy. So at that point, I realized that it wasn't really how much you really made. It's learning how to leverage it, learning how to be prepared for down, market corrections, for you to be prepared for how to better use your money and understand how to leverage your tax return.
So let me pause you on that and make sure you caught that. It's not about making more money to make you happy. It's about learning to leverage it. And what we do in acknowledgement is we acknowledge what's really there. And as we've already kind of highlighted here, we have to get in touch with our values and our purpose in order to know what we're looking for. Once we discover that there's something that we can work with, then we get to make choices. Choices lead us to the path of healing. And as we engage healing, what we're doing is we're releasing the things that don't work for us, and we're taking in the things that do work for us. So, Sugey, as you guide people through a stewardship process, what are some things that you, in my terminology, you would heal, you would release the things that aren't working, and we would take in some things that are working? I know that's my language, and I'll give it back to you. Use any language you want. You help people heal from bad financial decisions.
Well, I wouldn't call it bad.
Okay, thank you. That's good communication.
It's just we're not educated in certain things. We all do the same thing over and over and over, which is, wait for a refund, or how much do we owe Uncle Sam, and the cycle continues, and that's what we're taught. And so when I take the time and show you what the tax return is saying and what the possibilities are, then that changes the way you look at things. And so I try to connect you with people that will help you. I don't do it all, but I can say, hey, this person can guide you or help you in that department. So I'm not just trying to solve this, give you a solution, but I'm also trying to connect you with someone that will continue to guide you down that, down that path. So it's really about educating the clients.
And I was just going to say that you do a lot of educating. You even kind of referenced this in the early part of your VIP. You recognize as a business owner, you want to stay in contact with people throughout the process. Right. It's not just a one and done, forget your taxes and walk out. You follow up, and what are some of those conversation points that you find mid-year, middle of summer, before the taxes come due? What do we talk about people to help them understand stewardship?
So just for a perfect example, yesterday I got a text message from a young gentleman. He's in his early 20s, but he used to come with his sister to do her taxes. He would hear the conversations we would have. He started, working. I would have the same conversations with him. And this is a kid who'd say, I'm still in my career path or graduating from school. Well, he texted me yesterday. He bought his first house.
Exciting.
Okay. I was super excited for him. And so he just wanted to thank me for, obviously guiding him through the whole thing and allowing him to see the possibilities. I texted him back and said, congratulations, I'm really happy for you, but just know it doesn't stop here. I will still continue to nag and bug you about now getting, rental property or savings or whatever. But, I do like to keep in contact with my clients. I like to share those moments. I like to be a source. If I can't help them, then let me try to see if I can find someone that can help them.
So let me back up from maybe a contrary point of view. But Sugey, it takes a lot of time to follow up with all these clients. And really, they're just paying you to do their taxes once a year. It doesn't seem like a good investment. Why is it a good investment?
It's an investment in here.
That's so wonderful. And you know what? As a client of yours, Sugey, that investment that you give to my heart gives me courage to do things that I maybe wouldn't have done before. And so I give it to you. Who's touching your heart? Who encourages you, mentors you, and guides you along the way? Today, we're looking at communication and we're looking at stewardship. And you're learning quite a bit from Sugey right now. I hope you're taking notes to go, there's other ways to look at my taxes. I don't have to fear and dread the end of the year. I can actually look forward to it and celebrate it. Well, this is the process of restoration. So we acknowledge, we heal, and we restore. When we restore, we're building, we're investing, we're growing, and we're having deeper roots so that we become unshakable. And Sugey, something we talked about earlier was the being a business owner versus being an employee. And what I want to invite you to recognize is there's nothing wrong with an occupation, except unless it occupies your time. Are you just clocking in and clocking out? If it occupies your finances, meaning it's the only thing that matters, I have to go to my job. Are you working to live or living to work? Check in on that, because a lot of times in the occupation world, you're not happy. And you need to meet with somebody like Sugey to say, hey, how can you help me to get out of my mundane world and lead me to what I would call a vocation, where your calling and your values and your purpose come alive? Sugey, have you had the privilege of walking people into a vocational calling or pursuing their dreams?
So, yes, somebody we know, but I didn't ask for his permission to share his information.
I wasn't going to say his name either, but he knows we're talking about him.
But it wasn't that I helped him find it. We already know what we love to do, but sometimes we call it a hobby. Sometimes we call it our side little hustle. Sometimes we call it something we just enjoy and don't see that it can actually turn into something more. So through, again, these conversations we have, or if I see something in the tax return where it says, oh, I was making these bows on the side, I made a couple $100 or whatever. And you look at it and you're like, well, why aren't you doing this more? Or you see the growth year after year. And so you start to encourage it, which is what I would do. Is there's possibility here. You could do more. You can actually leave your job. Is it time? How can we budget so we can leave our job? So it's not just, okay, I quit today and I'm going to go make bows or whatever, your little skills are, whatever you love doing is. It's really strategically planning it out and looking at it and making sure that our, regular mortgage and whatever bills we have will be met, and then making that jump. But sometimes we don't realize that we can put some things on pause to make this happen, to turn around and have more of it afterwards. So
it's a beautiful story of guiding somebody through the restorative process where they discover, oh my gosh, I could do something. And that's where we end up coming into a kingdom encounter. In the kingdom encounter, we have celebration, abundance, victory, and success. And this gentleman we're talking about, he's filled with wonder that, how did this happen? My dreams are coming true, and I'm enjoying something that I didn't think was really ever possible. And that's really what we invite you into on an AHRK encounter, is to go, it's real. But until you acknowledge that it's something that you won't ever pursue it. So we go through this path and we come to the kingdom and we go, wow. So Sugey, I didn't prepare you for this question. She got really nervous right there. What are you celebrating? Where are you feeling like I am in the right place, doing the right thing? And how are you celebrating your business, your family? What does it look like? Give us a glimpse into your kingdom place where you go, I really am unshakable, undeniable, and unarguable.
So nothing is perfect, Casey. You know that very well. But I have a lot to celebrate, and that's where the focus goes. So instead of allowing my energy go in things that, are not doing so well, I focus on things that are. And when I shift my energy, that takes over and it just blossoms. I mean, our business has done amazing. Our family, my parents are so proud of us. Our sisters are, I need help. They're there. So they're supportive. COVID didn't help the situation, but it made us a little bit stronger, in my opinion. So.
And you talked about shifting your energy. So one last topic on stewardship, communication, shifting energy. Can you give me a tangible shifting energy way to make sense for somebody else?
So, I mean, every day when I get up, I have a choice of focusing on, what's not doing so well or what is doing great. And I have focused on the wrong thing. And then I realized that that's why I'm having a bad day, because I'm focusing on the wrong thing. So I just want to be happy. I want to be happy. I want to feel successful. I want to feel satisfied in what I'm doing on my day to day. So I focus on things that do work. My health is a big one. If I wake up early in the morning and go to the gym and then, have a good healthy breakfast, my day seems to take off great. If I don't, I get sluggish.
A little bit off.
And then, it just, so it's those choices is what makes that shift.
Beautiful. And what Sugey is inviting us to recognize is that the 5 lenses of the AHRK encounter are really important. If I deny lifestyle, but just focus on communication, it'll be better, but it might be missing something. And so there are 5 different lenses on the AHRK encounter that we invite you to engage, to process, and to go through. And there are so many other resources available for you. We want you to live your best life now and to find the best version of you. And so today we brought together the lens of communication and stewardship, and we brought a little bit of understanding about the fact that you can invest in your best day and you can inspire others to do it as well. So as we wrap up today, I'm going to toss it over to Melanie, and she's going to invite you to stay connected, become part of our community, and take up some of the tools and resources that you can steward your time, your energy, and your wealth.
Wow, that was fascinating to hear that it's not about how much you make or what you make, but about communicating your desires in order to leverage your finances. If you are intrigued by what you heard today, check out our website, www.arcpath.com. What are you waiting for? Follow us on social media at ARCPath. We even have a podcast featuring the talented Bernard Bashir and Casey Cox. You can even check out our app, Circles Now, for course packages launching soon. Thank you so much for tuning in to AHRK Encounter, and we'll see you on the next one.